The Nettie and Nancy Show, where we're going to talk about recovery and real estate and anything in between. The Nettie and Nancy Show.
All right, so, hey.
Hi, welcome to the Nettie and Nancy Show.
Yes, I'll get serious now. So, you know how, like, September is recovery month,
Yep.
You know, and it's the whole month is dedicated to people in recovery, right? And just we do recover, we do get better. There's treatment, et cetera, et cetera. August 31st was International Overdose Day, and you know, August is usually like just overdose awareness. And so I just thought today I brought a picture of my stepson Travis, who was 25 when he died of an overdose. 25 years old. It was in 2017, and I'm just going to stick them like here. I don't know. We'll put them here. And 2017 was one of the worst years. 200 people a day died of an overdose. Horrible. 200 people a day. Like, that is crazy. And that was 2017. And I think there was, I wrote it down, 72,000 in 2017. Do you know in 2022, it's 110,000 people have died of a drug overdose. It's so unnecessary. And it breaks my heart, you know? And I just think like we should just maybe dedicate, the podcast to just recovery. Like, there is hope. Like, we do
Absolutely.
recover. And, you know, we see the images all the time. We see people struggling. We see them on the streets. You can go to Kensington and it's like a war zone.
Have you ever been?
Yeah, and it's bad. It's really bad. And
yeah, I got the bright idea, and me and my husband, we were down in Philly, and I said, let's drive through Kensington.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. I cried for 3 days afterwards.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see junkies. I saw sisters and mothers and brothers and friends.
Kids.
And, you know.
People's kids.
Kids and parents, and just, you know, I saw people.
Yep.
Like zombies.
Yep.
It was horrifying.
Yep.
Horrifying. People shooting up right there in the open street. Just.
Yep. It's bad. It's really bad.
And so unnecessary.
So unnecessary. Because I feel like treatment is more readily available. In 2016, when we were trying to get Travis into treatment, it was devastating at the time. We went to 3 rehabs in one night, and we were turned away at every single one. And the last one, the lady kept telling my husband, call back tomorrow. I don't have any beds. Call back tomorrow. And I literally, to watch a grown-ass man throw himself on the counter and be like, my son is going to be dead by tomorrow. Like it was bad, and we had to leave with no treatment, no hope that, you had that 5-minute window
right.
of when he wanted help.
Yep.
And we couldn't get it. And, thank God we have friends in recovery who helped big time and helps a lot,
yep.
To get people in the door when there's no beds. It's a major crisis still. It really is. And, I don't know, we could talk for days about it, for hours and hours about it. And so I just wanted to dedicate this episode to Travis. And
I love that.
Yeah. And hopefully, we get better treatment, better resources, more opportunities to get people into some kind of treatment. I mean, my addiction didn't reach that level, but there's still a never waiting for me, right? There's
absolutely.
I can never say I would never, shoot heroin or something.
Right.
It's still waiting for me.
I always say that the only reason why my addiction never took me to that level is because I didn't have a boyfriend that was doing it.
Right.
Because it seems like any girl that I asked, that I came across, I'm like, how did you start shooting heroin of all things? Mm-hmm. And it's always a boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost every time.
Yeah.
And it's horrendous.
So sad. It really is sad. A couple weeks ago, we had two friends of mine, two 2 acquaintances, 2 friends, each lost, a child to an overdose. So
Yeah.
it's still happening. And
Absolutely.
it just should,
Every day.
110 is one too many. 110,000 is just 110,000 too many. And I don't know what the solution is. I was thinking about this today, like how awesome is it that I had that gift of desperation, and it truly was a gift of desperation, and you had it too. Yeah. And it just kept you in the rooms, kept you coming back, no matter, what was going on. There's so many things. Like, I was ready to lose my house, my job. I mean, thank God, like, my work tolerated me. I don't know how.
That's amazing.
I don't know how they tolerated my behaviors. I think because they didn't know. They just didn't know. They just thought I was crazy, or
Right.
but financially I took a hit, spiritually, like it's so it's just devastating. But to have that gift of desperation, it kept me coming back, and I wish I could give it to everyone. I wish I could just reach into my pocket and just hand it out, and I have a family member who's struggling right now, just refuses to get help, refuses. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I just keep saying it over and over again. And I don't even want to take the phone call anymore.
Right.
That's really sad that I've gotten to that point where I don't even want to take your call.
But if you remember when you were out there in active addiction, I think that part of it is probably we think that if we get sober or clean, life is going to get boring, and we just can't envision a life without getting messed up.
Yeah,
without getting
true.
high. It's just, I would have never imagined.
Yeah.
Up until until I got that gift of desperation to really. I remember when I came into the rooms and I would see people and they're like, yeah, I have 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have
liar.
30. Yeah,
Liar.
I have 30 years. I'm like, well, that's got to be a bunch of baloney.
Right.
Like, there's no freaking way.
Right. I remember sitting next to a woman, and I literally had 12 days, maybe 5 days, and she was celebrating her 2-year anniversary. And I was just blown away, 2 years? That's a freaking lifetime, right?
Yep.
I was like, really? 2 years without a drink or a drug or a mind-altering substance? How? I just couldn't even imagine. But, I'm grateful for every day that I have since then, every single day.
Yep, absolutely. Now, I think about this too, like the third tradition. I guess it's the same in your program, right?
Oh,
The
yeah.
third tradition, that's the only
Requirement
for
is
membership.
a desire.
Yep, to
to-
stop using.
Yes,
What we
or
say.
or not drink. Yeah.
Right. Is that desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't necessarily have the desire. I was just, like I told you, I was just coming because that's what court told me to do. But, thank God that you can't unhear what you hear. So even for the people that are coming, for whatever the reason is, whether, all the wrong reasons, but they are still in the rooms, hearing the message, they can't unhear it.
Right. They say bring the body, the mind will follow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you hear the solution.
Yep.
It's whether it's sinking in or not. Look at that anniversary meeting we were just at. That
Isn't
was
that beautiful?
amazing.
22 years.
It just
and
makes
1
me want to
year.
cry
Yep.
sometimes, and just, and when they said, can anybody, who has 1 year of continuous clean time, raise your hand, and half the room goes up.
Yep.
Miracles. That is complete miracles.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
it's good
No,
stuff.
it's amazing. It's amazing. I know I think a lot of people think that with their loved ones, when they go in, if they do get them into treatment, like people who aren't in our world, right? And then they have a loved one who was struggling, and then they, finally get them into treatment, and they think that, it's all solved now.
It's done. They're going to be perfect.
Yep.
They don't have to go to a recovery house. They can come home. I'll take care of them.
Yep.
I know. And I jumped into that rabbit hole with a loved one too. And I turned my life upside down for literally 3 months, making sure that he was going to meetings, that he was getting here, getting there, doing this, getting a job. I got in the way is really what I did. And thank God for another sister program that we have. We have, can I say it? Nar-Anon and Al-Anon. I mean, they do help.
Yeah.
They really do help. And I go to that one regularly too.
I've had it suggested to myself too to go.
Yeah.
But I have a difficulty following suggestions sometimes.
Yes, I know.
It takes until the pain is great enough, you know.
Yes. Well, for 12 years, they kept telling me to go.
Oh, well, I've only been told for a few months, so I'm
And
good.
no, and you go when the pain, you hit
Yep.
the nail on the head. And I flung myself into that room, and for months they got to hear the rage and anger coming out of me, and
Yep.
and now I'm happy again because, I put the focus back on me.
Right.
So, but it's just sad. I don't know what the solution is.
I remember one of the first meetings that I went to up in this area when I moved from Delaware County out here to Pottstown. One of the first meetings that I went to, there was a gentleman there who, at the time, he was celebrating 40 years clean.
Wow.
I know. At that point, I had
whole
never met
lifetime.
anybody that had that much clean time, right? 40 years. Are you kidding? Like, that's a lot of just for today's, right? And a lot of weddings to go to, not drinking. Because I remember thinking, like, well, them alcoholics, like, that's a shame for them. They can't ever go to a wedding
Right.
and have a drink,
Can't go out to eat anymore
Right,
because there's
right.
a bar there.
But he told a story. I know. We have so much fun, right?
So much fun.
And we don't
I
wake
can
up
go-
with a headache.
I can go anywhere alcohol is today. Like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
does not.
I don't want to sit at a bar, but I didn't even like sitting at the bar when I was
Right.
using.
Right. Exactly. But I can
But-
go and have
yeah.
fun. And, when it gets to be too much, Eric and I have a code word.
Yep.
If one of us says that word, then we're out of here. Like, one
Right.
of us is feeling so uncomfortable at this point that we've used that code word. I don't want to say
That's a
it in
good
case
idea.
we're at a party or a function and I throw that word out there. Everyone's like, oh, she just wants to leave. There's no alcohol here. Why does she want to leave?
That's a good idea. I think
No,
I'm
it
going to
is.
implement that.
It really works. It really does, because you never know. I might be having a bad day, or I don't know. We go to a lot of concerts. We do a lot of things where there's alcohol and
Right.
there's substances. It's
Right.
and it just people. If you want to do it, that's your business. You know what I mean? I don't care. I know I can't. I know that that one or two drinks is going to lead me to a dark place.
Right.
It just automatically. I'm not doing that again. I've
Yep.
worked too hard. I've lost too much. Not doing that again.
the desire
Just for
has been
today.
lifted.
Just for today. Or that one little hit off of, that marijuana or whatever you're passing around. God only knows what's in it today. It's not like the same stuff that
But before I forget, so that guy with 40 years, he
Oh, yeah,
shared his
sorry.
story. No, it's fine. What I wanted to get to was he shared that he had been to treatment 14 times
Wow.
before he got it.
Yeah.
14 times it took for him to
Yeah.
get.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I know there's a bunch of old timers in both our programs because I'll dabble in both every now and then. But
I love that about you, by the way.
Yeah.
I really like that
Thank
you're
you.
like.
I'm in and
both.
out. I'm
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't get
great.
rid of me.
I love it. I love it.
Back in the day, there's some people significant to my life who back in the day, you went to rehab for 3 to 6 months and you stayed there and you learned how to live again and how to be, a productive citizen. And why don't we do that now? Like, why is it 21 days? Why are you getting kicked out? Like, something's working.
How are you going to cope with life after 21 days?
Or to even 28 days, like, it's working, and why are you going to now take someone who literally just probably came off the streets into rehab and, just go to a recovery house? It's not that simple. It's not. I just feel like you need to stay longer. We need longer treatment. It's just me. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. Maybe I should run for senator or something.
Maybe you should.
No.
I vote for you. Yeah, so like I remember when he was sharing about those 14 times in and out of treatment, like imagine his family,
Yeah.
that hope that every time he went in, they must have gotten that hope
Yeah.
and then back out again.
Yeah. You lose that hope. You absolutely lose it. I'm serious. I mean, I've been through it with, not just Travis, but other family members. He went to treatment a few times, and he had a year clean.
A whole year?
A whole year. Like, he was working the program, had a sponsor, did the steps, and I don't know exactly what happened, and I don't know why, but
Reservation of some sort.
I still, to this point, just I don't know why, but it happened. And, I don't know if he thought, I could just sneak this one in this one time.
Yep.
And,
One more.
And it was fentanyl. It was all fentanyl. And it was instant. It was just no.
Who came up with that shit?
I don't know.
Excuse my language. But who came up with that?
I don't know. But I do know, like, back in the day, doing crazy stuff, like, experimenting with all different types of substances and different things. And, you could have handed me a horse tranquilizer back then. I probably would have taken it because I didn't know any better. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did some crazy stuff. I'm lucky to be alive, seriously.
I mean, animal tranquilizer is a thing.
Yeah. Well, apparently.
It's a thing.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
It is very sad. But, so, I mean, I think that part of the solution, that has worked for us, for example, I was not ever in treatment, but, going to the meetings, putting your hand up, getting a home group, getting a sponsor, and using that sponsor.
Yes. Calling that sponsor, making those phone calls.
And
they give you a list of numbers right away.
Yep.
And they're people, they want to be bothered.
Yep.
Like, they want to be called.
Yep.
I got those phone numbers right away. I didn't go to treatment either. I was too stubborn. I definitely needed it. But I was afraid. Who was going to take care of my kids. I mean, obviously I wasn't taking the best care of them either, but, I couldn't let go of that final control. But those phone numbers were a lifeline. And I was at a meeting, 12 days sober. And, you introduce yourself, and it was packed. And someone behind me was like, "Nancy, is that you?" And I'm just like, I was afraid to turn around. I didn't know who was behind me. And it's a funny story, but she said it again, "Nancy, hey, Nancy." And I was like, I turned around, like, "Who are you?" And like, "Who are you?" And she goes, "It's me, Belinda." And I'm like, "Huh?" She goes, "It's Belinda. You've only been calling me for the past 10 days. Every day I called her. And I didn't even, I just didn't know. They were my lifeline, these people. They just kept me coming back. Like, what meeting you're going to hit today? How are you? How are the kids? What's going on? Just someone to talk to.
I think that there's a divine connection when you call another addict that comes to mind, or that's off that phone list, and you get to the one that actually answers.
Yes, because you got to call like 10 before someone answers.
But I have not ever utilized that tool and had a bad conversation.
Right, exactly.
Not ever.
Same.
There's always that, whatever it is that ails me, whatever mountain I made of that little molehill,
Right.
it gets soothed.
Yep.
Every time.
Even today, I still call. I called 2 people today on my way to work today, just because I missed my Tuesday night meeting. I was just not feeling squirrely or anything, but just I need that connection. I need to stay accountable to people. So,
And that's how we get one day more, right?
Yes, exactly. I never know what's waiting out there for me. Something could. I don't know. I don't know what could happen, right?
I mean, it could be anything. It could be somebody saying something, and then you get up in your head, or your husband says something, and you get up in your head.
We could do a whole episode on husbands.
We should. We should make a husband episode.
Oh, God.
But relationships,
yeah.
Kids, friends, and then, nobody can get up in their head as good as we can.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I can beat the crap out of myself with that Louisville slugger. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the same,
Not
going to
much,
meetings.
though.
That, I think that I contribute my relapse a lot to me going. I was going to the meetings, barely, but I was going to the meetings, but I wasn't putting my hand up. So I didn't get that, put all my problems out on the floor level, because when you do that, no matter how trivial or stupid or whatever you tell yourself that it is, once you get that out,
It has no more power.
It's lifted.
Yep. It's amazing. Who knew it was that simple?
It's so simple.
All these years, 30 years of chaos in my life.
I know. It's so simple. And life is
What?
so
Just go to a
good
12-step program? What?
Yeah.
Just get my hand up and share? What? With strangers? You want me to be vulnerable? It was hard. It was really hard.
It is hard.
But
And it is a little bit weird in the beginning, but
Yeah.
I think once you...
the funny thing is, I think the first 7 days, I remember I went to a lot of meetings because I was afraid. I went to a lot of meetings the first year. But I just remember going to the same group of meetings in the same area for say a month, and you really get to hear the same people and the same stories, and you're like, oh my God, these are my people. They're totally telling my story. I thought I was the only one who did that, or, I thought I was unique, And I was that person that went to the meetings, and I'd be like, I'm Nancy, I was at an AA meeting, and I'd say, I'm Nancy, I'm an alcoholic and an addict, because, I was unique. I was different than all of you, you know?
Yep.
But I don't know. It's just...
But that's why all these overdoses are so unnecessary.
They are. They really are. It's so sad.
And do you ever go to a meeting and somebody's there from your using days?
Yeah. It's happened a lot.
Isn't that the best ever? I love that so much.
Well,
It makes me
sometimes.
so
No.
happy. I always get delighted when I see them.
I remember. Oh God, oh Lord, no, no. I've had some very significant encounters with people from my past who were in recovery, and it was mind blowing and spiritual on so many levels, because if they could do this for that amount of time that they were saying they have, my God, I can do this. I can. It gave me hope. Really, I have a very special story. I'll share that for another time with someone in the rooms, or should I just? I don't know. It's a long story. How much time do we have? How long have we been even talking?
We've been talking for 20 minutes by now.
20 minutes already?
Yep.
I'll save it.
Okay.
It's a very powerful
Do you have
story.
anything else on your notes?
No, it was just those. 2022. 110,000 overdose deaths in the U.S.
That's such a shame.
Way too many.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. Maybe we should mention, though, before we go, that there is help out there, so that people can go to na.org or aa.org, and you can see meeting lists for your local area.
Yeah, even Google, rehab, treatment. I did it the other night to get a phone number for a family member, and my God, it just boom, 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 boom. It just comes up. So, there is help available. You just have to make that call. You have to want it more than you need it.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. So,
Yeah. I love you.
I love you.
The Nettie and Nancy Show, where we're going to talk about recovery and real estate and anything in between. The Nettie and Nancy Show.